Hey y'all, hey, we are back for another review of Sisters on BET. Let's just jump right into it. We are on season 5, episode 20, entitled What Goes Around. I would like to preface this review by saying last review I misspoke in saying that this was the season finale. We actually have 2 more episodes until the season is over. So we got 2 more episodes. Let's just jump right into it. So anyway, we're in the wake of Sabrina finding out that Danny slept with Q last night, and she can't believe that Q is standing there, just birthday butterball naked, and so he speaks to Sabrina. He's like, "Hey," as if she's not, it's as if you didn't do anything to her, and she's just not with it. She don't want to talk to you. She don't want to see you. She don't want to smell you. She don't want nothing to do with you. Danny, I guess I come to the conclusion that Danny really did not know him. She only knew him from work. And Sabrina tells her, like, listen, this is the guy that put me and Marcus in jail. You know, he's the reason we're facing all these federal charges. So what is he doing here? And so she's upset. But Danny's hearing what she's saying, but Danny's more upset about the fact that she has slept with someone that has slept with Maurice. And she just don't know how her life came to be what it is currently. So she's trying to sort that out in her mind. And Sabrina's reminding her, listen, like your hot girl summer choices are getting worse and worse and worse. Like you run into an undercover agent, you run into this man that spit on you and beat you up. Now you run into somebody that's probably capable of the same or worse and has put your dear friend potentially in prison. So yeah, sometimes the hot girl summer just ain't for you. Well, I just get you a warm winter, get you a lukewarm winter like me, and just relax. The hot girl summer don't work out in everybody's favor. You know, it sounds good. You know, Meg gave us her anthem, but it's sometimes you just gotta let it go. You can't. It ain't that hot if you keep fizzling out with the dudes that you picked. So yeah, no more hot girl summers for you. Let's just breeze on into winter. All right. So it dawns on Danny that Logan is the one who probably got Q the job at the airport, because she knows that Logan is an undercover cop, right? And a part of his sting operation, or a part of his guys, was being at the airport. And we know that Q was a snitch, and so once Q, Maurice, and Sabrina have been taken down, Logan doesn't really have a need to be undercover in this particular aspect anymore. I don't know. He wasn't undercover as it relates to this. He was undercover as it relates to the trafficking. So they were able to solve that and found the trafficker, if I'm not mistaken. So he didn't need to be at the airport anymore. So that leaves a position open, because Zach, he got this money, so he don't need to be there either. So that is where Q comes into play. And so again, Danny tells us that she only knows him as Quincy, which Quincy Q. It's not that far of a reach. It's not that far of a connection to make. But she never put two and two together. Sometimes things never really cross your mind because they seem so far. I'm just gonna give my girl Danny every benefit that there is, because that's my dog. Anyway, it could be far fetched to put two and two together. Like, there ain't no way I'm talking to or dealing with or working with this guy that, you know, put my friends in jail. But we'll give it a benefit of the doubt. And the conversation kind of shifts. It becomes less and less about Sabrina's situation and, you know, where Q has her right now in life, more about why Danny is spiraling. And no one's really... Hold on. Sabrina sees that she's losing control. She's spiraling, and it looks very similar to her behavior when she was in college. I'm assuming somebody broke her heart in college, and she had her little starting five lineup, and she was just, you know, knocking dudes down left and right, or doing whatever it is that she had to do to mask whatever it was that she was feeling at the time. So that is where she is currently. She chalks it up to YOLO, or, you know, you only live once, make the most of it. We single, I'm living my best life. But that's not really the case. That's not where her heart is at. What I think is she is so adamant of not being married to Preston. Mind you, I think she wants to, but not under the guise of how it was presented, or how, you know, of where they are in their situationship. But yeah, this is what she's gonna use to band-aid that until she can figure out what to do about that situation. All right. Andy goes to Robin's office, and today is the big day. Everybody's excited, but he seems a little down. He got a call from the loan shark this morning, and he either wants more interest or he wants him to return the loan. He'll give him the fee will only be 10% if he returns that money today. Well, we know you need that money to be in that company account, so you can't really move it. And so he asked Andy, like, are you working with Gary? And she's flabbergasted, shocked, and appalled at Robin for even thinking about asking the question, which I don't really know why, because it's feasible and it makes good sound business. I mean, it's a logical question when you think about it. So, like I said, Gary had called the loan shark and made him a better offer in order for him to take the offer off the table for Robin. Which I don't really know how you going. I don't know how you're gonna renege on a contract and the contract has been fulfilled. I say you loan me money, I give you back. Well, the contract isn't really fulfilled, but you fulfilled your side as the loan shark. It is really, I don't know how you're gonna take that back, but whatever. And he told her, like, listen, I'm not really sure, you say you weren't working with Gary, but it sounds fishy. Like, you hooked me up with the loan shark, and and now the loan shark is taking the money back. And after I told Gary that I did have the money fell through, and it just kind of seems like you playing both sides. Reasonable deduction. I can see how that makes sense. And so, now I need to know why you even brought this loan shark into my life, because it's not making sense. So make it make sense to me. This is Robin speaking, right? And she tells him, like, listen, this is the long and the short. I helped you so that you could help me. And he's looking like, what are you talking about? Because she's up for partner, and if Hayden and Gary are able to pull her, pull his seat from up under him, she's going to lose her coverage. She's going to be out there naked, and, her prospects for becoming partner are going to be bleak, especially if, Gary feels slighted, and that's all going to be snatched away from her. And we know Hayden probably really don't like her for the fact that she's Fatima's friend. So, you scratch her back, I scratch yours, but she does remind him, like, remember, I did that so that you could help me, but keep in mind that you was an asshole to me first, so it's not my fault. All I can tell you is that I didn't do it. And so he's trying to tell her, his alternate plan. She's like, listen, don't tell me. That way, when it doesn't, when it falls through, when something happens to the plan, you can't say that I was involved. Basically, absolving herself for being in the middle of that any longer, or perceived to be in the middle of that any longer. All right. Calvin is at Sabrina's, and she is just beaming with excitement. Basically, joy for the fact that her friend's going to be able to get out of jail. And she confirms to him that Bio, did let her borrow the money. And now he's just concerned about her going to see Bio, ask her, like, hey, are you going to go see him again? And she says yes to the dress. She's like, yeah, I'm going to see him, Don't be sad about it. We're good. Don't be a downer. But I'm going to go see him. And so Calvin is kind of down about it. But what I really think Calvin is down about is the fact that Bio was able to provide Sabrina with something that he was unable to provide. He offered up $25K, and his money just wasn't long enough. That's the long and the short of the situation. So he couldn't help Sabrina in a way that he wished he could. And so now, he's probably feeling a little bit unfulfilled or inadequate in that aspect. And so he's grappling with that. All right. So now she has to tell him about Q, but she doesn't tell him at all where she ran into him at, but she tells him, like, listen, we got to do something about Q, and, so they're going to come up with a plan to figure that out later. In that moment, Maurice calls, and then they finally confirm to him the good news of Bayou put the money up, so it's time to go. It's time to get out of jail. It's time to, blow this chicken shack. What's the cliche? What's the saying? I do not know. Never mind. Don't even worry about it. Anyway, Fatima goes to Andy's office, and Andy asked her how did it go with Zach, and they had to come to Jesus, and Andy was scared for half a second. She was like, "Come to Jesus, or did you send him to Jesus? Like, which reckoning did you, exact on his life?" And she tells her, like, "No, we just got work to do. We talked out some stuff. I went home. I stayed the night. We're good for now. Still a work in progress." And immediately, Andy inserts herself back into something that she was able to wiggle her way out of last night. And I say that because she goes on to tell Fatima that Karen actually apologized to her, and everybody's surprised that, Karen was able to apologize, which it ain't really much news to tell, but you had just said like you were tired of being in the middle of those two, so you're going to have to find a way again to separate that. I guess this is kind of one of those see it through to the end, because Fatima was involved thus far, so there's some things you tell her and some things you don't. I'm not really sure that the apology was anything that was going to sway Fatima left or right anyway, so wasn't needed. It wasn't needed for you to be told, so you can continue being impartial in the situation. But it's Andy, and things, again, just like I said last review, things tend to fall out of her mouth like word vomit, so she really probably just couldn't help herself. All right. She also tells Fatima that Zach is really being generous in this child support agreement. She's looked over the documents, and she's going to tell Karen that it's good to sign, so they're good to go. And Fatima claims, okay, that's good. He only wants to do right by his child, and that's the only reason he's getting things down on paper. But me and you know that there's definitely more to that story, because while he wants to be, good to his child and provide for his child and make things as simplified and easy with Karen as possible, he also has a vested interest in, keeping his money in-house and solidifying a future for him and Fatima. I ain't saying I blame you at all. I'm not saying I blame you at all. That's just partially, why he's being so generous or being so kind or, being all these things to Karen in this written decree or whatever it is. All right, Fatima calls Zach and tells him what Andy said about the paperwork. And she also goes on to tell him like he needs to go apologize to Karen. I'm getting exhausted. I'm gonna tell you. Because she still has to sign off on the papers, so you need to go make nice for her. So while the paperwork looks good to Andy, that doesn't mean she is still gonna sign it, because you showed your ass the night prior at the restaurant. So you were wrong in how you reacted, so you need to go basically butter Karen up so we can get this paperwork signed. Is the gist, right? All of that is fine and well, but you keep sending him to Karen, and then when things are misconstrued or actually happen or whatever it is, you wanna do a 187 on everybody that's moving. How? Why do you keep pushing him over there to do things? Invite Karen's ass back to the house like y'all did the first time, and we hash it out on the couch so that there's no misinterpretation of information. But she claims she trusts him now, I'm sure, but between now and episode 22, that will shift yet again. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Gary gets to the office. Him and Hayden they back on their ego high, they're back on the ego trip, and they just waltz into Robin's office, just armed with the knowledge that they were able to get through to the loan shark, and they probably have messed things up for Robin. So they're going to see Robin, and he looks a little bit nervous at first, and Hayden and Gary are clamoring over each other, wanting to be the one to break the news to Robin. And of course, Gary prevails, and Gary tells Robin that the partners have raised the call. And then so that, they're talking small talking, and he goes on to tell him that, oh yeah, the partners have raised the call another $10 million, which means they're going to put up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has to put up 3, basically. So the collective number is $10 million more dollars. And of that $10 million, Robin has to come up with $3 million is his portion. And so the contractor says he needs to have his $3 million. The contract states that he needs to have his $3 million in the account before end of business. But some loophole in paragraph 3 tells him that he's supposed to be given a reasonable amount of time. So now they're going back and forth on what's considered reasonable. Gary suggests same business day. Gary and Hayden, of course. And then Robin suggests 30 business days. Like that seems fair. That seems reasonable. And, of course, they don't want to hear it. And he tells them, oh, don't worry about it. I don't really need any time at all. I have it in the account by 5 p.m. today. Sounds good. Sounds feasible. I mean, I don't know about feasible, but it sounds good. Or it's the biggest wolf ticket I've seen this year. But I don't know. There was still some unsurety in those eyes. But we'll see if he can come up with $5 million within an 8-hour work shift or whatever time frame it is on the show. All right. Fatima asks the receptionist up front, like, why did I see Tamara in the office earlier, Miss Decoy, right? And she tells her like, oh, she was here to fill out the application. Hayden brought her up here because he's trying to get her a job as a secretary, right? And so Fatima tells her, she goes in to see Miss Decoy girl and tells her, you can't work here. Like, you shouldn't be applying. I don't know what he's trying to do, but you need to come up with a reason to wiggle your way out of this position because you can't be working here. Which, tell me if I'm wrong. What's your theory? It didn't really clarify why she can't work there other than, hey, you're a spy for me, and so you shouldn't be working with me. You know, maybe their interaction could be misconstrued as them knowing each other. And then when Tamara takes everything, then it blows back on Fatima. Makes sense. But from the other aspect of things, if Tamara wants to be an international super spy, you get the job. You're his secretary. You see his records. You see his money. You see a lot of his personal things as a secretary, and that could maybe, you know, garner you some additional information to help Fatima accomplish her goal and what she's trying to do. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But the latter may not be true because Tamara wasn't giving me super spy. She was giving me a little bit remedial because she was having a hard time spelling secretary. Took me out, for one. For two, when Fatima walks out, she continues to fill out the application claiming, oh, I'm going to get this job and I'm going to get this money. I'm going to take his money. Like, you know, doing a little bragging to herself, which, I mean, you're getting a little greedy. You starting to poop where you eat, as the saying go. But we'll see how that works out. All right. Sabrina's there in Andy's office to see her, and in this scene, it seems like she has some of her light back. Like, Sabrina's always been like giddy and updo and, you know, a ray of sunshine, and she's getting some of that back now that she's shaking all of that gel off of her. I mean, of course, it's always in the back of her head, just a little bit, but she's been able to shake it off for the most part. And so Andy simultaneously just got things set up for Maurice, and so they can go get him. Y'all go do what y'all got to do. Sabrina tells her that that's how I find out. But before we go, I need you to call and check on Danny. She slept with Q. She wasn't aware, but she's not doing good, and it's giving very much college all over again. So we need to basically stage an intervention to see what's really going on with that girl, which is fair, which is reasonable. You check on your friend. I don't know about the bombarding aspect of it. Or just popping by unannounced with a gang of people to tell you what you're not doing right in life. Not so much. But from a place of absolute and utter concern, we'll go with it. I'll allow it. Anyway. Andy asked Sabrina a question. She asked her, hey, how were you able to get that much money from Bio? And Sabrina tells her, I simply asked the man, like, why do y'all keep asking me how I get this money? I asked him. And she reminds Andy, like, hey, Gary has bought you Rolls Royces, condos, townhouses. He done bought you the gamut of things. So are you trying to say that a man won't? Basically, like, I ain't got the zhuzh, the feminine wild. I ain't got the capability to get a man to do that for me. Is that what you're saying? Because where's all the judgment coming from? Which, not mad at Sabrina at all for giving that energy, because everybody seems to think, oh, Bayou lent her this money because she's sleeping with the dude. Now, what I'm not going to say is he's not going to come back and, you know, try to get that little bit of interest later on. That's what I'm not saying. But what I'm saying is that at this point, that is not the case and shouldn't be the automatic assumption. As I said, in less view, some people's word is truly bond. Like, it just is what it is. And good for Sabrina, even better for Maurice, right? All right. We're at the salon, and Karen says she's feeling good. Aaron shows up like clockwork. He shows up to bring her lunch, and she was like, you know, I'll eat. You put it in the back, I'll eat, but I have another client. This scene is where the seams are going to start coming. Not this scene, but this episode. A little teeny bit, where the seams are going to start to come unraveled on Aaron. In my notes that I'm currently reading, before I got to the end and realized what I realized, which is coming up in a second, something gave me control, right? So he tells her, oh, well, your next client is going to have to wait. I'm about to go back here. So this is just my interpretation. He's not giving that, but he's giving, okay, that your next client is going to have to wait. I'm about to go back in, heat your food up. Go ahead, wrap this up, and you need to come eat. sounds like you're talking to a 3-year-old, right? Because they don't want to eat their dinner. It gave that. And so he does not, well, she says okay, but he doesn't really wait for a confirmation. He heads towards the bag to heat up her food and wait for her to come eat like he has instructed her to do so. And that little scene right there is probably what Mama picked up on with Aaron. Maybe not the controlling aspect of it, but realizing like, you're not as sweet as you seem. Everybody, including me, got a little downfall or two, and you giving perfect Patty, and I don't appreciate it. But we're gonna get back to Mr. Aaron in a minute. Zach is at home, and the dude shows up at his house, and he's ringing the door, and he's looking for Fatima, and then he asks Zach who he is, and Zach is like, well, you knocked on my door, it's my house, who is you? And so he's like, oh, well, Sabrina does stay here. And he's like, well, it depends on who's asking. Again, who are you and what is it that you want? So Mr. Dude is trying to get away. His name is Joey. Joey's trying to get away, and Zach is like, listen, you're already here. What is it that you need from? What's the problem? Like, what you need with my girl? And he's badgering it to the point where he tells Zach that he's Fatima's baby daddy. Now, wonderful. But I feel like at the preview for this episode that was at the end of so episode 19, they had like a little flash of the same scene, and I felt like there was going to be development. However, they just ended the damn season with the same thing that they ended the last episode. I mean, not ended the season, ended the same episode with the same scene that they ended episode 19 with, and I'm like, where's the progression? Like, why y'all ain't give me a little bit more information? Y'all ain't give me a little bit of tea on who Mr. Joey is or nothing. And that annoyed me. But that summed up episode 20. Now, in the preview for episode 21, Aaron is pretty much grabbing some girl by her arm, trying to keep her from going to where she is going. And I'm assuming they're outside of the salon, and he's trying to keep her from going inside. This is just my perception. And she calls Mr. Aaron John, and I'm looking like, who in the hell is John? And he's telling her like, listen, stop calling me John. Like, I don't go by that name no more. You need to get out of here. So Mr. Preacher, Mr. Perfect Patty is giving Secret Life, and I'm interested in seeing what it's about, because you already got I don't know, you got a wife, you got some stepkids, you got a whole lot going on in your life. So who's John? And if it ain't your middle name, why are you going by it? So I don't know. Are you a scammer? Y'all think Aaron a scammer? That just be going around like in Norbert when Kate's fiance was scamming all the different women with all different names, telling them all the lies, taking them girls' money. Is that what y'all think? Is that what y'all think for Aaron? I don't know, because he had a wife a couple episodes ago, and that gave stability, which gave somebody got to know your real name. I don't know, child, but Mr. Aaron, your slip is showing, and we're gonna keep looking until you put your dress down. Definitely euphemisms and doesn't actually imply anything. All right, that is it. That's my review for season 5, episode 20 of Sisters. Let me know what you think about the episode. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.